Let's talk about ghost guns and the ban of them, or, some people are proclaiming it got rejected. The issue isn't that. The issue is that I'm an inventor, no different than somebody manufacturing their own tools. I had a few gun designs throughout my life. I wanted a magazine-fed revolver. Thought that would be a really fun design. I figured it out, but then there's that repeating revolver that came out, and there's another caseless. What the fuck was that thing? It was a weird one. I wanted to get a world record for the longest shot, so I was going to make a rocket round that could basically the original Winchester bullet. I didn't know this at that time, but this was inspired by the Gyrojet, I think is what it was called. But so you have the original Winchester bullets weren't encased, whatever. Uh, they were conically grooved in, and that's where the propellant was. Very cool. What else did I want to do? I have a revolver design. I don't know if I'll ever get to make it because I don't have my mill, lathe, and 3D printer anymore to design this stuff. But I wanted a revolver inspired by the Dan Wesson, but it would be a solid frame with a specific barrel structure, and then you could use either different sleeves for the cylinder, and then different barrel thicknesses and stuff, so that you could change your calibers. And I also had a design for a bolt action that would be the strongest bolt action capable. It was like a 6 lug fucking action. The thing was ridiculous, and it would function off of a similar to the Chris Vector. The bolt would be able to. So it'd be a lever gun, but it would technically be like a bolt action. So like a locking lever gun. And it would reflex down in, and then you could modulate it to semi-automatic fire. I had another design for a rotating bolt, one that spins and is gas operated for a semi-automatic, so that it would function sort of like a delayed blowback. And all this stuff is just fun for me. Like, it's not practical. You would never implement this into like the army or anything. It's more just like, I think I had other designs, but it's been so long since I thought about it all. But see, like it would be illegal for me to invent these things because you could consider them ghost guns, and like it's ridiculous that we don't have the practicality, because if oppression happens, you need to build your own weapons to defend the homeland. Like, how are you going to do that? How are you going to, if you have the probability, the capability, and that's what fundamentally is with my forehead. Like, that sort of stuff is what's kind of built this fucking country. So you're removing this potential, and at the same time, you can just go and buy any gun and harm somebody, and yet you want to pretend that we have like an entire tracking system. for every bullet that's ever been fired. Like, for every single gun. And it makes you a bit concerned. And so, like, I can build a gun from a. What about the Unabomber? Like, okay, so we look at him, right? He builds his own firearm. No idea why he doesn't just buy one. Supposedly a genius. But maybe he just wanted to build the damn thing. So, I mean, we're assuming that these people that can fabricate these objects are criminals. And while what the Unabomber wanted to do, there's no purpose to blowing things up. It never changes the world. Buildings will be rebuilt and people will learn to hide better if you're going to try to implement your ideas into society. But also, what if he did just want to create a gun? And, like, you can go buy a gun, shoot somebody, throw the gun in a fucking sewer somewhere, and there's a probability or perimeter of searching sewers where you can get more statistically successful at hiding the weapon so that it can't be tracked and traced back to you. All you have to do is grind the fucking serial number off anyway, right? So, like, it's nonsense. It's all just fucking nonsense. And I had all those ideas. Like, I love the physics of firearms. I have so much fun with my father's rifle. Because, like, I made that other video explaining how I do my loads. And you can tune them down to, like, hunt a rabbit or fight a fucking T-Rex with this thing. Like, and based on how you inertial reference the powder curve, you can get in the same bullet 44 Magnum performance or like BB gun performance. You can hunt a rabbit with that round, or you can fight a bear. It just depends on how you access the firearm. Guns are fun. Like, I always respected them. I grew up on a farm. We had a gun case. Once in a while, I would sneak out the 22 and go and take a shot or two just for fun. But, I always respected all the other guns, the stuff they told me not to touch. They taught me how to use everything. I mean, when I was like 10 years old, we went to the Air Force show, whatever it's called. And, I got to see like an F-117, which at that time was my favorite jet. And they had F-16s, F-15s, and what have you. But they had a whole tent of every military weapon, and they trained me how to use every single one of them. So at 10 years old, I knew how to fire a fucking rocket. Like, I knew how to fire a bazooka. Like, I knew how to calculate the ballistics and like chamber and use all these guns. Like, everything that was military grade and issued at that time. And, like, I still haven't gone out and just blown people up. I mean, if I wanted to, I can go and get, like, a rocket system and create a propellant and launch that into random people's windows and blow up their living rooms. But nobody's doing that, right? When's that gonna fucking happen? I told you guys, like, when we start banning these guns, people are still gonna want to hurt each other. So they're going to go out and they're just start using what used to work. And that's going to be poison or knives and stuff. And then you get that girl, Irina Zarutska, something like that. She's stabbed to death on a fucking train. Wouldn't you rather have a guy thinking he's cocky with a gun? Because he's still going to kill the girl. But had he shot his gun, I mean, yes, he's got more firepower potential, but he could still just he could strike her back up and have more strategy. So then you end up teaching people to be far more capable and sneaky again, rather than alerting everybody around you that there is a threat. That's one of the benefits of firearms. And though capacity is still a very controversial thing, it always just correlates and scales in concept. Because if I can print a magazine, even if I just know how to work metal and solder and make springs, I can make my own magazines as large as I want. It doesn't matter what the laws are. So then you end up making smarter criminals, right? And then they can engineer these things. And all that information's out there. Eventually you're going to say, well, maybe we shouldn't educate people. Because then they're going to learn how to turn a tool into a weapon. And that's a huge paradox in philosophy. Is that, I believe true world peace is seeing anything but a weapon. You never see an object as a weapon. I can kill you with a plastic bottle if I want to, or, what's it? Central intelligence. It's a force multiplier, is what he calls it, The Rock. But, like, and then there's this thing that happened to me in my past where I'm illegally searched by an officer, and I tell him, like, anything can be a weapon. I have a can of green beans in here that I could use. And they actually use that in American Ultra. You go into the grocery store and he literally uses there's a can of green beans on the left side, but he uses some other object. But yeah, like anything in a grocery store too can be turned into a weapon. You can just go and get a jar of pepperoncini, break open the lid, toss in somebody's face, smash it, and stab them to death. Like, it's the idea that anything can be turned into a weapon, and also you choose not to. That's what creates peace. If we all just go mad and want to start killing each other, I mean, even our fists. Are we gonna ban fists? Like look at my knuckle. Like, this thing is so conditioned. It's gigantic compared to my other knuckles. And like my fists, I can hit so hard that I could end up killing somebody, but I choose not to punch people because I don't know what will happen. If I hit somebody hard enough, they might fall and crack their skull. It changes their life forever. And like, you don't want to be a vegetable, right? So you make those choices. All these fighters we train, we have dulled down martial arts so far that it's not a weapon anymore, pretty much. It used to be the most efficient way to kill somebody physically. And a lot of that stuff has been hidden and stuff. And it's turned more into basically gymnastics. But it's the same thing with martial arts. Why aren't the Shaolin monks just running around killing people? They got the most fucking, like, they train their whole lives. They can do stuff that normal people can't do, and yet we're not murdering them again. China slaughtered the originals, but like, because I think they had a whole like era where they were just murdering Buddhists. Pretty weird. But what freeze can be used and taken to oppress people, right? So That was the whole point of Shaolin martial arts, is that philosophy and how to correct that bias of desire and power and all that nonsense. And I don't know, I'm losing my train of thought again. So what's the solution? I grew up on a farm with guns. I never abused them. I never ended up killing somebody. It could probably be a social study done on uh, the statistics of people uneducated and firearms taught at a young age to respect these things. That's the kids that go and play with their father's gun because they don't respect it, right? So there was a case some years ago of a brother, right? I think it was a brother. He goes to show his younger brother the gun, and it goes off because he's not trained in how to use it. Or maybe he set the whole thing up. You never know. There's a lot of kids done some crazy stuff, but it doesn't mean that everybody's fucking bad. I mean, it's one person out of 8 billion. It ain't gonna change the course of humanity unless we let it change our course of humanity. So you gotta look at what we're actually working towards. I mean, you want to better humanity, to protect humanity, but yet you're unwilling to give people the right to do so. And it just seems irrational to me. I don't know, that's just how we were in Nebraska. Everybody had guns. Pretty much, except in the town I grew up in. But pretty much everybody just had guns. Our school would tell us a story, or they told us once probably. I doubt they told us multiple times. But we got on that subject too. And they said all the farm boys used to keep rifles in their trucks at school, and no school shootings ever happened back then. Well, we started limiting all this stuff, and people quit respecting the aspect of I can hurt you and you can hurt me, so let's find balance. And there's that philosophy too that ancient peace, I forget what it is. It's how neighbors can both be armed to harm each other, but if they can, they find common ground. If each person's pacified, then you don't really know other than what like your physical structure is. So I'm bigger than my neighbor Mary, but my neighbor Mary has these over-penetrating rounds for her small semi-automatic. She killed me with that fucking thing. But I know what she's capable of, so if I wanted to harm her, I would just go get a bulletproof vest, right? So should we ban bulletproof vests? Like I said, it just seems irrational. Like, this ability of intel is what affords weakness, it seems. And that maybe the probability of success in a conflict derives from betting on your own capabilities and understanding of your environment. And that provides your respect for your surroundings. Anyway, I'm going back to my show.